America's most decorated war hero died broke, addicted, and possibly murdered. That hero was Audie Murphy, and today I'm going to show you the shocking truth behind the legend that Hollywood tried to hide. By the end of this video, you'll never look at war heroes the same way again. So stick around, because what you're about to learn will change everything you thought you knew about the American dream. It's 1971. A small plane crashes into a Virginia mountain during a storm. Inside that wreckage lies the body of America's most famous soldier. But here's the kicker: this wasn't supposed to be how his story ended. The man who survived the deadliest battles of World War II, who killed over 240 enemy soldiers, who earned 33 medals including the Medal of Honor, was supposed to live happily ever after. Instead, he died owing money to dangerous people, struggling with addiction, and carrying secrets that some say got him killed. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start from the beginning, because Audie Murphy's story is nothing like what they taught you in school. Born in 1925 in rural Texas, Audie wasn't your typical American hero. His family was dirt poor. I'm talking about the kind of poverty where you hunt rabbits just to eat dinner. His father abandoned the family when Audie was young, leaving him to take care of his mother and younger siblings. When his mother died of illness, 16-year-old Audie became the head of household. He dropped out of school in 5th grade to work full-time, earning $1 a day picking cotton in the scorching Texas heat. Now here's where the story gets interesting. When Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941, every young man in America wanted to fight. But when Audie tried to enlist, the military laughed at him. The Navy said no. The Marines rejected him outright. Why? He was 5 foot 5 inches tall and weighed only 112 pounds. He looked like a strong wind could knock him over. But Audie Murphy had something that size couldn't measure: pure determination. He lied about his age, adding a year to make himself old enough for military service. He kept trying until finally the Army accepted him in 1942. That small lie would change military history forever. What happened next sounds impossible, but it's all documented fact. Murphy was sent to Europe with the 3rd Infantry Division. He fought in Sicily, Italy, France, and Germany. But unlike other soldiers who tried to survive, Murphy seemed to have a death wish. He volunteered for the most dangerous missions. He charged enemy positions alone. He saved his fellow soldiers over and over again, even when he was wounded. The numbers are staggering. Murphy was wounded 3 times but refused to be sent home. He earned 3 Purple Hearts, 2 Silver Stars, the Distinguished Service Cross, and the Medal of Honor. By war's end, he had killed over 240 enemy soldiers, more than any other American soldier in World War II. But here's what they don't tell you in the history books: all that killing changed him forever. Let me tell you about the day Murphy earned his Medal of Honor, because this story will blow your mind. It was January 1945 in France. German forces were attacking Murphy's position with tanks and hundreds of soldiers. Murphy's company was outnumbered and outgunned. Most of his men were dead or wounded. Any sane person would have retreated, but Murphy didn't retreat. Instead, he climbed onto a burning tank destroyer that could explode at any second. He grabbed the machine gun and started firing at the advancing Germans. For over an hour, he stood there alone, shooting at an entire company of enemy soldiers, while the tank beneath him was literally on fire. He killed dozens of Germans and forced the rest to retreat. When reinforcements finally arrived, they found Murphy still standing there, covered in blood and soot, asking for more ammunition. That's not Hollywood fiction. That really happened. But what happened to Murphy after the war is where this story gets dark. When Murphy returned to America in 1945, he was a national hero. Hollywood came calling immediately. Universal Studios offered him a 7-year contract worth $2,500 per week. That's over $30,000 per week in today's money. He became a movie star, appearing in 44 films over 20 years. His biggest hit was To Hell and Back, the movie version of his own war story. It was Universal's biggest moneymaker until Jaws came out 20 years later. But behind the glamorous Hollywood lifestyle, Murphy was falling apart. He couldn't sleep without nightmares. He heard gunfire that wasn't there. He carried a loaded gun under his pillow every night for years. He would wake up in cold sweats, sometimes attacking his own wife thinking she was an enemy soldier. Today we call this PTSD, but in the 1950s, nobody understood what was happening to him. Murphy tried to get help. He spoke to doctors, psychiatrists, anyone who would listen. But the medical community didn't know how to treat combat trauma, so Murphy did what millions of veterans do. He self-medicated. He started taking sleeping pills to stop the nightmares, then pain pills for his war injuries, then more pills just to get through the day. Before long, America's greatest war hero was addicted to prescription drugs. The pills made everything worse. Murphy became moody and unpredictable. His first marriage to actress Wanda Hendricks fell apart after less than 2 years. They fought constantly. She accused him of violence and infidelity. He accused her of the same things. The Hollywood press covered it up to protect both their careers, but people close to them knew the truth. Murphy was struggling with demons that no amount of fame or money could fix. His second marriage to Pamela Archer was more stable, and they had 2 sons together. But Murphy's problems were getting worse, not better. He was spending money faster than he made it. He invested in failed business ventures. He loaned money to friends who never paid him back. He bought expensive horses that couldn't win races. By the 1960s, the man who had earned millions as a movie star was running out of money. That's when Murphy made the biggest mistake of his life. He started gambling. High-stakes poker games in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. Horse racing bets that could win or lose thousands of dollars in a single afternoon. Murphy thought his luck in war would carry over to gambling. He was wrong. The gambling losses mounted up quickly. Tens of thousands of dollars disappeared in bad bets. Murphy borrowed money to cover his losses, then lost that money too. Soon he owed serious cash to serious people. The kind of people who don't care if you're a war hero when it's time to collect. This is where Murphy's story takes a sinister turn. In his final years, he was seen regularly at poker games with known organized crime figures. These weren't friendly neighborhood card games. These were high-stakes operations run by dangerous people who broke legs first and asked questions later. Murphy was in over his head, but he couldn't stop gambling long enough to climb out of the hole he had dug. Friends and family tried to intervene. They begged Murphy to get help for his addictions and stay away from the gambling scene. But Murphy had survived impossible odds in war by refusing to back down from any fight. Unfortunately, that same stubbornness was destroying his civilian life. He couldn't admit he had a problem, and he couldn't ask for help. On May 28, 1971, Murphy boarded a small private plane for a business trip to Virginia. He was trying to put together a deal that would solve his money problems once and for all. The weather was bad. Fog and rain made flying dangerous, but Murphy needed this deal to work, so he insisted they fly anyway. The plane never made it to its destination. It crashed into Brush Mountain near Roanoke, Virginia, killing Murphy and 5 other people on board. The official cause was pilot error and bad weather conditions. The pilot tried to land in conditions that were too dangerous and crashed into the trees, but almost immediately, questions arose about Murphy's death. Why was he flying in such bad weather? Who was he meeting in Virginia? Was this really an accident, or was it something more sinister? The conspiracy theories started right away. Some people claimed Murphy was murdered because of his gambling debts. Others said he knew too much about organized crime activities and had to be silenced. A few even suggested that the government killed him because his advocacy for veterans' rights was becoming too troublesome. Here's what we know for certain. Murphy owed significant money to some very dangerous people. He had been receiving threats about his debts. Several witnesses reported that Murphy seemed scared and paranoid in the weeks before his death. He told friends he was worried about his safety. The business trip to Virginia was secretive. Even his family didn't know exactly what the meeting was about. But here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to talk about. Whether Murphy was murdered or died in an accident doesn't really matter. The real scandal is that America let its greatest war hero fall so far that either explanation seems possible. Think about this for a minute. Murphy earned 33 medals for his service to his country. He risked his life hundreds of times to protect his fellow soldiers. He killed more enemy fighters than any other American in World War II. And how did America repay him? We made him famous, took his money, ignored his mental health problems, and let him spiral into addiction and debt. Murphy tried to tell people what was happening to him. He spoke publicly about combat stress and nightmares. He testified before Congress about the need for better mental health services for veterans. He warned that thousands of soldiers were coming home with invisible wounds that nobody understood how to treat. But America wasn't ready to hear that message. We wanted our heroes to be perfect, not human. The tragedy of Audie Murphy isn't just that he died young and broke. It's that his death was completely preventable. With proper treatment for his PTSD, he might never have become addicted to pills. With better financial advice, he might not have lost his fortune on bad investments. With intervention for his gambling addiction, he might not have gotten involved with dangerous criminals. Instead, we turned Murphy into a Hollywood myth and ignored the real person who was crying out for help. We celebrated his war heroics while ignoring his post-war struggles.
We profited from his fame while abandoning him to fight his demons alone. Murphy's story is still relevant today because we're still failing our veterans in the same ways. Every day, 22 American veterans take their own lives. Thousands more struggle with PTSD, addiction, and homelessness. We thank them for their service, then ignore them when they need help the most. The real mystery of Audie Murphy isn't how he died, it's how we let him fall so far in the first place. America's most decorated soldier should have lived a long, happy life surrounded by the gratitude of the nation he served. Instead, he died owing money to criminals, addicted to pills, and possibly murdered for his troubles. That's the dark truth behind the Audie Murphy legend. The boy from Texas, who became America's greatest warrior, never found peace after the war ended. His invisible wounds were just as real as the physical ones, but nobody knew how to heal them. His story should serve as a warning about how we treat our heroes, and a reminder that fame and medals can't cure the human cost of war. The next time you see a veteran struggling with addiction, homelessness, or mental health issues, remember Audie Murphy. Remember that heroism in war doesn't guarantee happiness in peace, and remember that our obligations to those who serve don't end when they come home.